Hi, I'm Tom Hayes. I run the strategy, technology operating model and operational resilience practice at Airwalk Reply. Primarily, we've been supporting the financial services sector, but increasingly we're seeing more and more work in both the public sector and further afield, particularly in the operational resilience space. I think that has been initially driven in financial services by significant regulatory change, and we're seeing more of that coming in the public sector. But I think more so looking at the general world we now operate and run organisations in, the need for resilient organisations, resilient operating models has become more of a need. And as a result, we're bringing a lot of the lessons learned from the sort of more complex and regulated sectors into other spaces, because there's a lot of transferable knowledge and skill there. Our vision for this space is that organisations have total understanding and visibility of their resilience posture, stemming from really high quality, proper value measures at board level, which drive the right investment decisions, drive the right organisational design decisions, and ensure the resilience posture of the organisation. I think we also see a world where, particularly with the sort of introduction of powerful artificial intelligence agents, we can bring together disparate data sources from across organisations into a single source of truth to really help organisations understand the journey from their supply chain all the way through their technology landscape, and how that impacts their posture from a resilience point of view. Because I think at the moment it can be quite siloed, and actually the power of bringing all those data sets together and having a singular view is going to be something that more and more organisations strive to achieve. Another area we kind of see as part of our vision in the operational resilience space is a world where senior executives and boards are regularly meeting to test their response to significant failure scenarios. It's all too often that we see when something does go wrong, it's often the first time that a senior executive audience have got together and had to respond. Obviously, being able to run scenarios and to build the muscle memory to respond, it is going to be part of every organisation as we go forward. The general approach that we've seen, particularly with operational resilience, is such a complex organisational construct. It spans security, operations, risk, technology. We've seen a lot of organisations adopt it in the risk space and really take on the risk framework and controls point of view. Our unique proposition is really looking at it from a technology standpoint and understanding how technology and how cybersecurity really come together to deliver resilient operations now that most organisational services are built on technology. So I think coming at it from that technology point of view really helps bring together the two worlds. And ultimately, we've got to be able to combine the different disciplines to achieve the outcome of operational resilience and protecting consumers from intolerable harm, because that's what it's all about. So another area that differentiates us perhaps from some of our competitors is that we typically hire experienced professionals from industry. So myself included, we've worked on the side of the service. We've owned the operation, and we've had to deal with the response to significant IT failures and significant business outages. As a result, we bring a depth of experience and expertise from our own learnings. And we can bring those to bear within different organisations and environments. So being part of the wider Reply network, we're really well placed to help customers and clients with the complexity of operational resilience. We're able to draw on lots of deep specialisms across the technology landscape and bring those things to bear in the right context. So being able to combine our regulatory and financial service experience alongside the technical know-how and the real lower level of detail allows us to get to a new level of understanding with resilience. And ultimately, resilience is achieved at the technology and security layer. and also across people and places. But fundamentally, when we're talking about severe, plausible ransomware, malware type scenarios, which are the type of scenarios organizations have to plan for today, there's got to be that specialist knowledge that we can bring and apply to help identify and solve the right problems. So increasingly, that's not just about the regulated industries. These are things that we're seeing more and more in everyday operation, and therefore we think that lots of these lessons learned from financial services are going to be taken forward into other areas, and we think we can really support there. If I think about an example of where we've really helped a client with solving an operational resilience problem, the organisation had defined what their impact tolerance was for their consumers. So they had a really good understanding of what affected their customer. Where they were still maturing was their understanding how their internal organisation enabled and supported the delivery of services to those consumers, and particularly from a technology point of view. So what we did was we helped that customer translate their important business services right down into their technology detail and the components that make up their technology landscape. By doing that, it gave us a whole new level of visibility, and through that level of visibility, we were able to expose new opportunities to improve their resilience posture through technology change, and ultimately assure the position of their services to their consumers. So another real success story for us, by bringing in different sets of expertise into a really complex financial services environment, we were able to, for the first time in that environment, understand the resilience posture of a number of IT systems. As a result of that work, we helped our client unlock the investment they needed to go and make change in those spaces. Where historically, operational resilience has been quite a challenging thing for organizations to achieve investment for, we're seeing it's climbing up the priority list, and being able to help that client get the funding they needed to go and make the changes that ultimately protected customer data. That was a really good piece of work for us. We're trying to get boards of directors thinking differently about their operational resilience measures, rather than measuring fairly blunt instruments. It's thinking about, what do we really need to invest in to improve our resilience posture? Helping organizations bring together lots of different data sources to create a real value measure, help them target their investment and focus on the right things to improve resilience, is somewhere where we're really seeing a big shift, and somewhere where we think we're at the leading edge. Another area where Airwalk Reply is doing significant work with industry, and we're at the very front of delivering, is with cloud-hosted data vault. So cloud-hosted data vault is fundamentally a technology solution that protects your most critical data in event of a catastrophic failure scenario, such as a malware or ransomware or encryption-based attack. What it does is it takes your most valuable data, it places it in a unique offline space, and it allows you to access, interrogate and recover that data if the worst was to happen. We've already worked on this with a number of different clients, and it's something that we see becoming an integral solution in lots of different IT environments as we go forward. The first opportunity I see for clients in the near future is starting to identify and bring together different data sets to help you really expose the resilience posture. One example of this could be thinking about bringing together the contract management database with your IT configuration databases, and looking at how those two things can complement each other to understand your supply chain and concentration risk. That's one thing that most organizations can do fairly rapidly, and it can yield really big results quickly. Another initiative that we think firms and wider organizations should be looking to invest in is the concept of data vaulting. With an increase, and a well-documented increase, in malicious ransomware attacks, not just within financial services and public sector, but far beyond, the ability to access and recover your most critical data in that scenario could be the best investment decision that an organisation makes in the coming years. So I think another real challenge that we're seeing, particularly in the financial services sector, is the translation of business requirements into resilience response. So it's taking the concept of an important business service delivered to a consumer, translating that all the way through to the detail of the technology change that's required to improve our resilience position. Creating that single line of sight and a data-led single line of sight is really challenging, but it can be done. And more often than not, all of the data within an organisation exists. What's needed is somebody to traverse the different parts of the organisation and tie the different pieces of data together to create a single view. And this is where we see the next step in terms of understanding resilience posture and being able to measure and manage that resilience posture as your organisation changes and evolves. One of the main reasons I would work with Airwalk Reply in this space is we bring a truly unique set of deep specialisms and skills from across the Reply network to solve the right problem. We also maintain impartiality. So when we are looking at a problem, we're looking at the problem from the customer point of view, trying to understand how we get to the best solution. And we understand that the solution may differ depending on the organisation. And having the ability to call on the skills from the Reply network, the deep specialisms across lots of different technology suppliers and vendors, which gives us the skills we need to solve the true customer problem to improve the resilience position of the organisation. Adding to Airwalk's vision in this area, we see a world where senior executives and boards are regularly exercising and testing their response to critical events and scenarios, learning how to respond if the worst does happen.